we stand.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a fantastic night here at the MCOM Platinum Circuit. We are proud to be bringing you some of the finest players in Oceania under D4. I'm joined with my fantastic analyst and my fantastic friend, Weapon. How you doing tonight, brother?
Dude, I'm doing great. It's been so long. It's been like way too long since we did this because I missed the last couple.
I
So
know.
I've got some things to catch up on with these teams. Most importantly, really good name changes, like
Yes.
top tier name changes for some of these players. But of course, like we're here. We've made it to the best of threes in these platinum MCOM trials, this mini tournament that we are a part of. And I'm really keen to see how these players have like leveled up over time with the coaching that's been afforded them by the MCOM organization.
We're going to see some pretty big things, right? Because we're seeing players, and we'll get into this for you viewers really soon as we're sort of prepping for the game. But we've got some names that have sort of come back. We've got names that have been with the MCOM for a while. Like, we've actually got a nice blend, and I think this is just a big testament to the Oceanic region right now, is we're actually starting to see players who want to keep grinding and keep pushing through. Like, you don't see that all too often. So I'm really excited for this because we do have some fantastic names in here that we are going to jump into in a bit, but it depends if we're ready to go over into the game. But at the same time, let's talk about these teams that are coming out here, Webber. Let's look at these teams. So we got MCOM Knights versus MCOM Jade Dragons. Now, you weren't here for a little bit of those games, but some of them were pretty spicy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I caught a few of them. I know enough that like basically every game has been spicy for one reason or another. Most of the time it's because they were really silly. So I'm hoping we get a little bit less silly and a little bit of that good spice. We do know that, like, I want to call out. I already got really excited about the name change because Amogus fan no more. MCE Imposter, best name I've ever heard. So good. Has apparently been just spamming normal champions. And I think that's like the kind of thing we want to see from a lot of these players. They've shown us the promise. And if they can play consistent, good League of Legends in their role, then absolutely these are players we're going to expect to see go far. Like this is it's MCOM. This organization has created, I think, more homegrown challenges than any other, right?
Like, I think so. Like, honestly, they've just been
I'd have to say.
Yeah, like they've seen some fantastic players coming through their ranks, so it makes sense that they're going to be bringing out the best tournament you can see in Oceania. So I'm pretty keen to see a lot of it. But we've also got some new names that we probably need to talk about here. Well, we've got some names that we're on. You've already spoken a little bit about our good friend Imposter coming into the scene. Look, honestly, I want to see Imposter pull something out of his shoe because he hypes himself up pretty hard. I want to see him step up to that hype. Like, he's got that attitude, but I want to see some action from that attitude. But let's look at these players, and we'll break them down for you guys before we get into this game, right? So on MCOM Knights, we got Kelsey in the top lane. We got Boy, fresh back from Taiwan, as we've been told, in the jungle. We got Sharky in the mid lane, Blue Liqueur in the bot, and then we got Locks, another new face on the Knights side that we haven't seen yet, Weapon. Anything we want to talk about with these guys before we jump over to Jade Dragons? Absolutely correct. We don't want to talk about anything because we might be going through some. He was muted. There we go.
Okay, but that's fine.
We can jump
muted
back
myself to drink. No, so a couple of players who are new to this team, but were in fact, as far as I've heard from Razy, they were meant to be the starters all along. But obviously, one was in Taiwan. But I think the players I really want to focus on, because we don't know what the form of Boy and Locks are going to be, but I want to focus on Kelsey and Sharky. I think as the real standouts for this team. Blue Liquor has had some good games on the games that I have seen him in, but Sharky and Kelsey, most notably, I think, have just shown such a good understanding of what their role is in any given game, whether it's being the setup with the Syndra in that first week we saw Sharky on, or just Kelsey playing some sort of front line like that Renekton he seems to like, and just occupying space so the rest of his team can work. And that's really what you want to see in these 5v5 scenarios. It's not all about the all-star play. Sometimes it's all about the having that consistency and just recognizing what you need to be doing.
Yeah, and on the topic of Sharky there as well, like, we have seen him play so phenomenally. Like, we've seen him pull out some really interesting picks. He is notably well known for like Syndra, mostly sort of your mage champions that you'd be seeing in the middle lane. So we could be particularly seeing maybe a Victor, potentially a Silas, looking for some really strong team fights, as we have seen Sharky really want to get his hands dirty and get some action done. Like, he would play it slow, he'd wait for the opportune moment, which is a big testament to him, because as a mid player myself, I just want to walk forward and just kill you. That's why I'm silver, and that's fine. That's
what works in silver, right?
It works in silver, right? And as soon as I hit gold, it's not going to work. I'll have to change my tactic. But no, I'm really looking forward to seeing Sharky in this game. I think he's got some big things. I love watching my mid laners, but I want to see the right synergy between champions. Weapon. That's what I want to talk about. Let's jump over to the next team though. Before we get into team comps, because we're waiting for draft for that. Let's look at Team Jade. You want to walk us through it?
Yeah, so obviously in the top lane, we have Imposter, formerly known as a Mogus fan, the crit Olaf specialist himself. Loves to go a bit weird with his builds and go super aggressive on his opponents in lane. Very much a split push win condition from what we've seen from previous games with this roster. Really likes to just create pressure in the side lanes, will join fights when needed, but kind of gives us a little bit of that. He's Diamond 4 blue, is how I'll put it. Then in the jungle, we've got Blasm. Pretty solid jungler in his own right. Has, I think, had some oopsies when it comes to decision making around items that stand out, but hopefully we'll see those ironed out over time. And then Reasons is not familiar to me in the mid lane, but I do want to talk about this bot lane of Worgen and Seraphic Blade, because I think Worgen has been very hit and miss. Has had some really good moments in team fights, but overall I think has been sort of towards the bottom of the pack when it comes to the AD carries in this pool of MCOM teams. And I'm really interested to see how he goes alongside Seraphic Blade, who is actually a name that I think you and I have casted in some of the higher tier tournaments, but now is actually eligible to be in these tournaments after taking a bit of a break from the high elo scene. So experience there could be perhaps what's needed to really help them get through those lanes a little bit safer and get Worgen to the point where he can be that team fight presence.
And look, and I think that's the big thing. Like, we know Worgen, if you have been watching the 1v1s in the past, all that sort of stuff, guys, here at MCOM, we've seen he is a phenomenal Draven player. Worgen is a Draven one-trick. I think he's got like 1.2 or 1.3 million mastery points. He's played a lot of Draven. So it makes sense that they probably will prioritize that ban on him, just because you take away his best champion, it's harder, but Draven's one of those snowbally champions too. So I'm curious to see what the picks and bans are going to look like, as we have seen a lot of these players play the same sort of thing. You could even be looking at, I believe it is Kelsey. Well, no, it's not Kelsey, it's Imposter. Imposter on Jade Dragons is a big fan of Jax at the moment. So do you think this will be a prio ban? Are you looking at some particular picks that these guys like to one-trick to be taken off the board?
Okay, so I'll peel back the curtain a bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jax is banned. So there is a pro draft going on. Mayhem, if you're with us, would love to get pro draft on the next game if we can. I know it's a bit awkward, but seeing the draft live is always nice. But we do have the confirmation that Jax is banned, so we'll have to see what he goes to there. And yeah, that's going to be a big thing, right? Because as these players start to move into playing into more of that competitive mindset, you only have so much bandwidth, right? So you're going to focus on one thing at a time. Jax, I think, is an incredible choice, because Jax can literally be blinded. I don't know if you want to, but he can be. And if you're focusing on that, then you kind of do have to fall back onto maybe some of your old tricks. So there is a world where we do actually see him look for something like the Cassante or the Olaf that we've seen from him before.
I think Cassante is probably a good pick. I think, especially if they're looking to get like that really strong lockdown in the jungle, which is potentially like a Sejuani, even a Maokai, which we've talked about quite a bit as being so strong. If the Sejuani or Maokai's picked, you're expecting a Silas. That is standard, because Silas is there to actually take over the game a little bit, utilize their kit towards the enemy team. That's going to be what's phenomenal. Now, I do believe we do have the pro draft coming in, hot guys, so stay with us for 2 seconds.
Go.
We can actually see it, and there it is as we're moving in.
Nice.
I'm a fan, right? So we've got some good picks, we've got some good bans. What do we make of this? What do we make of this weapon?
So we are in that final rotation, so last 3 champions to be locked in. Notably here, I think, no melee's picked up alongside this Sejuani, so a bit of a weird draft. The Sejuani's going to have a lot of work to do cutting through this front line. Is that you typing, Mayhem? It's really loud. Yeah, definitely a weird pick. We want to see something that's going to support this Sejuani up towards the top side. Looking at one of those melee matchups, the Cassante has been taken away, so that's really the main strong melee champion, maybe you just go for something like an Ornn and give yourself more facilitation. But Garen,
Oh,
okay,
Garen?
all right.
What? He's some Demacian justice in here.
All right. So Garen, I don't know if you've been seeing the memes floating around in the Twitter sphere, but so like Garen is kind of a thing right now in the university LoL scene in the US. There's one particular player who is like he is challenger from what I've heard, who's just gapping people on Garen, and people are refusing to ban it because it's Garen, and then they just lose. So the champion, yes, he's like the tutorial champion, right? But like in good hands, you can definitely make it work. And Kelsey has definitely been a good pair of hands for most of this run here at MCOM.
No, 100%. Now, I want to break down. I like these bans, but I think we're past the bans phase. I want to look at just these team comps as a whole here, Weapon, right? Let's break it down. So we got the Garen in the top lane for Knights, into the Sejuani jungle. We got an Ahri mid, and then Xayah Rakan bot lane. Anything sticking out for you on this side?
So I think the bot lane is going to be a big focus here for the Knights side. You've got the Xayah Rakan, which has a lot of early power, especially that level 1 trade is probably going to go your way, even with the Senna Ezreal being double ranged. But that just means you just hit them harder, right? They don't have the ability to counter engage onto you if you're the aggressor, where the Rakan can be. Now, I think Senna is actually kind of sleeper right now with Navori, and we're not seeing enough of it, but she is still a champion who takes a little bit of time to get online and get to the point where she can be that damage-relevant threat. So early game going to be in their favor. You can get the Sejuani down there, who does have that one melee champion in the Rakan to help stack up the passive, and 2 very squishy targets. So look for action towards the bot side from Sejuani, and then the Zac look to counter engage wherever possible. Coming in from fog of war, really elusive and just stuffing those attempts so that the Ezreal Senna can get to that point where they can be competitive, and then you can just team fight around this Sylas and Cassandre creating space.
I think the big thing you got to look at this as well is the early game for Knights is going to be so bot focused. Simply because if this Xayah Rakan get jumped on and perma-ganked by this Zac, which they should be able to do, Zac passive's going to be awesome for an early tower dive and shutting them down early. It's level 6, you can't keep doing that anymore. Featherstorm from Xayah is just going to make it so hard to lock her down, and she's going to be able to get out with her life. So pre-6, I feel like Knight's bot is just going to be hard focused, so I'm expecting a lot of action down there. But if we move on to the other side, as I sort of briefly mentioned, Jade Dragons, we got Cassandre with a Zac, Sylas, Ezreal Senna. So what do you think about this? I think it's such a different play style to Knights here.
It's weird, right? Because Zac is definitely hard engaged, and you do want that alongside the Cassandre and the Sylas, because they're not champions who can really can't really facilitate anything on their own, especially the Cassandre, who really works in those counter-engaged situations where he's having the opponent run at him. And that's where you start to call into question how this draft is going to function in fights, because you've got Xayah, you've got Ahri, who are both going to play at range, and they're your main threats. Garen and Sejuani, they don't care if they're in your face fighting you. They can probably take it for as long as it takes for the rest of their team to do work. So I think flanks are actually going to become very relevant, and Zac finding creative angles into the fight, whether he can get on top of the Xayah, burn that ultimate, even Ahri burn that Spirit Rush, and make sure that you have a vulnerable target that the rest of the team can cut down and run down with the Sylas. And it almost actually reverses the role where the dive is more important, and the Senna and the Ezreal are there to just play at range and create space.
Yeah. No, exactly right. I think that we are going to see a lot of tower diving is probably the key things. I think Cassandre and his kit in general is going to be so big for what could be potentially a really nice sort of like back-end flank. If they're looking all mid, I could imagine a Cassandre jumping through those walls, coming off to the side, and then just trying to pincer them as big as possible. But into Garen, I actually want to talk about this because Garen is such a unique pick here. Let's look at the Garen-Cassandre matchup. Is it weird, or is it going to be Pog?
Okay. I think it's okay into the Cassandre, is all I'll say. Cassandre has a lot of tools to deal with you, so it's just going to be a bit of a wet noodle fight up there.
All right.
I think the only thing it really gives you here is the ability to lock down the Ezreal or the Senna, prevent them from hopping away or dashing away with the Senna, and then you can blow them up if they're low enough. But other than that, I don't really know how it functions. So
is he just going to be a frontline almost? Like, is he actually going to be building any damage? Does he build full tank? Like, what does Garen do here?
I think so. I think he builds Stridebreaker because it's just a good Garen item. But then I think you just go Stridebreaker into full tank, and your only job is to get on top of Ezreal with Q and just be there to make him uncomfortable, force an arcane shift, and then let the rest of your team do the work. I can certainly see it function in that way, but I think in side lanes, it doesn't really offer a whole lot. So it's really just all going to be about that team fight presence.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I think the 15-minute mark is going to be, I think, where things really shine, right? I'm excited to see everyone hit 6, full power. I'm thinking even just first item, we're going to start seeing some really big plays coming out. But again, I'm going to come back to this bot lane because I love the Zyra Khan. I think they've drafted exceptionally well on Knight. And we're going to get to predictions as we move forward. But, Weapon, I want to talk about, you sort of mentioned that Ezreal Center just want to sit back, try and poke it out. They're trying to just make some space there. Can they win laning phase into such a fantastic comp that is Zyra Khan?
I don't think they have to. I think they actually have the luxury of time, which is not something you often get to say about Ezreal in any of the lanes that he tends to be in. But I think they can just play at range. They can certainly play to just they can play the wave, basically, and look to just keep prio wherever they can, keep push, let the Zac maybe get into decent positions to try and make something happen on the bot side, or at the very least, just draw the attention of the Sejuani, because you are a pretty mobile bot lane. But I don't think you're looking to win this lane by any means. If you do, great. But you are looking to kind of nullify the Zyra Khan early and get to a point where you can have these extended team fights around objectives with your Sylas, Zac, and Cassante buying space for you to just do your work. Like if the Ezreal and the center win, that fight's going to be like, I hope you're warmed up because that fight's going to be long.
Yeah. Oh mate, I've got it. I've numbed my throat with like a numbing spray, so I'm sorted. Like I'm ready to go. I could cast all night long. I'm ready. I'm primed. I'm sorted. Actually, fun tip: if you do talk for long periods of time, guys, or screech like I do when I'm shoutcasting, numbing spray helps.
Bullet time.
That's all you'll hear from me by the end of tonight, as I want to just go absolutely bonkers. But okay, so let's talk a little bit more about these players, right? Like we sort of touched them a little bit before. Let's talk about the players though. How do we think that they're going to fare? Because we did see some really good pocket bans coming out, which is like the Jax. We see the Draven. Like I said, the Victor, the Syndra's already banned out there too. Like, do you think these guys are going to feel comfortable? Do you think they've practiced these in scrims? We might get chat to have a look at it and tell us what they think. But at the same time, let's actually talk predictions real quick. Player predictions. Let's talk overall predictions though. Who do you think is going to take this one home?
Despite the lack of melee champions for the Sejuani to work with outside of the Garen, which I think is actually okay, E-procs the passive, I really do actually favor the Knight's draft here. I think they have the rest of success, a lot of ways to prevent the incoming dive, and when your dive is only Zac and only Sylas, then that's really all you need. And then Rakan, Sejuani, Ari, they all go forward and kill their targets. So I think in fights they function well. I think they have solid lanes for themselves. I think they're going to walk away with this game one.
I actually am going to agree with that. I think regardless, you could even take Garen out of this mix, right? And you could have Sejuani, Zyra, Ari. That is still so strong in itself. You've got charms, you've got mobility, you've got heals, you've got a huge tank at the front. Garen is exactly like you said. He's a meatball. He's going to be chilling at the front. You're going to be struggling to scoff down that spaghetti, and you're going to be having a bad time because regardless, the silence from Garen is going to be huge. His Demacia is going to be massive because if they're low enough, it's like you said, if Ezreal gets low enough, he's dead. Doesn't matter. He's gone. So I think if I'm going to put it on any player here, if I'm going to put anything on any player in this roster, it's going to be big coming out for Blazem on this Zac. I think he's going to have his work cut out for him on this Zac. I'm expecting more plays than we are probably used to in an Iron to Plat.
We're used to a lot of plays, but hey, we're loading in, so
we're loaded in. I think we should sync up, guys. We're going to jump over. Give us 2 seconds as we get ready. We'll be right back. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first game of the MCOM games. We are in a best-of-3 series right now. Jade Dragons versus the Knights. We have some stonking good plays coming at your screen right now. Weapon, we are pumped. Now, we've got a couple things that we missed, hey. We didn't even get to talk about the red-blue side conundrum. We did see, I believe, that it is the Knights on blue side, and it is Jade Dragons on red.
Yeah, I mean, more relevant in draft, but right now, you see just a line of scrimmage from both sides. So I expect the lanes are actually going to be a little bit static on both sides. And if everything plays out according to sort of how it should be, it should just be really push wars and then maybe some skirmishes around objectives early on. So both these teams, I think, will get a chance to really show what they've got when it comes to that sort of 6-7 mark as the dragons start to spawn. The other thing we didn't talk about, by the way, about this Garen is gentle viewers. So there was a rework to Tenacity, and Garen currently has access to, I think, more Tenacity than he's ever been able to get. Like, it's ridiculous. Overall, Tenacity's been kind of nerfed. Like, you probably get about maybe 3% less than you would before. But Garen, I think, now has more, if I'm not mistaken. It says the Zyra Khan trades.
Morgan already taken solo. Heal popped, Ignite popped too. Trying to kind of... That was so aggressive. I love it. Level 1.
Yeah, that's all it takes with this Zyra Khan lane. Both sides of the matchup scale W. They just go in. Rakan, Lox does find that really good knock-up into Worgen before he even has the Arcane Shift available, and then just attack speed from both sides gets it done, and they chunk Worgen out. So Worgen has been struggling a bit over the course of the MCOM tournaments, but it certainly doesn't look like his fortunes are going to be particularly different in the early going in this lane. Does have the Seraphine to heal him up a bit, though, so we'll be fine. And as I said, he's not really looking to directly win the lane, just kind of get through it.
Yeah, it's all about survivability at this point, right? Whereas in the top lane, it's a whole nother story, as Kelsey and Imposter are just absolutely just smashing each other as much as they can. I like this matchup. I'm curious to see how it turns out. As we know, Imposter and Kelsey probably like the highlighter sort of maybe players that we've seen the most of, I believe. I believe Imposter was given A tier for his plays, gifted to us by the beautiful folks over at MCOM.
Most entertaining, for sure.
Most entertaining.
I think like what we've seen a lot from the guy is just really even though he's been playing some really goofy stuff, he really knows what he's doing, and his explanation for why crit Olaf was good was pretty solid. And now he's on a very standard pick in the meta, which is the Cassante. But Sejuani down towards the bot side, and they're going in.
It could be the knock up as the dash does come out. Worgen gets hit, slows them down, and they do sort of have to chew their tails as they back out their weapon.
Yeah, nice attempt there. You can't fault the Sejuani. Just finished her clear down towards the bot side, and Tezavoy wanted to see what he could find, and what he could find was apparently nothing. Blue Liquor is kind of chunked out, though, so you could potentially look to re-gank here if you are the Zac, but...
And this could be the knock-up. It's going for a little bit more. There's the flash engage. They get double flashes, though. It's everything that they wanted. It's unfortunate.
It's on a ward.
Yeah, but they want to go for it. Blazin could be looking for more. Sadly, he does decide not to engage. But here goes Silas. Reason's doing a good job. And they just reset. Oh, wait. Conqueror proc. Very nicely done by Reasons, chunking out Sharky there.
Yeah, nicely done. Decent trade onto Sharky, but or by Reasons. But gank turns down towards the bot side, potentially brewing again. Both junglers are down there, and they both have their sights set on the bot lane.
Oh, I did say this was the lane that everything was going to happen in early. Pre-6, everything's happening bot. They don't care about anyone else.
Yeah, it looks like Blasm was just helping his bot lane get the reset, get the push, and both sides are going to reset. And critically, I think all summoners down, actually, as we take stakes top of that bot lane. So a lot of vulnerability, and expect a lot of reganks. I think you can see both junglers path up towards that top side, maybe say hello to one of their solo lanes, and then just go straight down there again in a couple of minutes. So both sides going to have to have their heads on a swivel, especially as none of those defensive tools are going to be available, except for maybe the Arcane Shift on Ezreal.
Imposter's looking very strong. Those kills
got Q3.
Low. Oh, does not hit. But Garen, again, getting bullied in this early game is it expected, their weapon?
It is, yeah. The base damage of the Cassante is pretty solid, but I don't know if you've ever... you've met Garen, right? It looks like he's low health. He's not. Give him a few seconds. He's full health.
Oh, no. Sharky has to burn the flash. Could still get pulled in. Silas, he ate onto a minion. Unfortunate.
Yeah, a bit rough. I actually think he was trying to. I think he was trying to kill the CS, knowing the play was over. But a really nice play by Blasm, finding some early purchase on the Zac. Flash forward.
There's the flash. There's the
silence.
Looks like Tezzy has come up for a party, and they do get out alive. Oh, these plays are so close with it.
Yeah, not bad. Flash for flash, and he's going to be able to crash that wave into tower with the support of Tezaboy, so a bit of a win.
Oh,
Go
God,
forward by
Lux going
Rakan.
straight in. There's the Ignite again going down. Seraphic Blade taken pretty low as he tries to dash out, but Lux taken low. Interesting trades again.
Yeah, Lux has a couple of potions. He has the refillable, so he's going to be able to heal up. And I think the point here is that they just want to be able to get this wave into a decent spot and also chunk out someone for the gank that's coming their way from Sejuani. That's just reset. Is pinging down towards the bot lane and straight up has ping tries. So Tezaboy is making his way down there, as is looks like it's going to be the Zac as well. Another collision in the bot lane is imminent, and Blue Liquor just has to get this wave shoved under tower so they can reset it, bounce it back, and set up for this gank from the Sejuani.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that is the crucial thing. As first dragon is up, we do have an air dragon on the board for the first one. It's kind of nice to see a little bit of movement, a little bit of cooldowns. The start of the game never hurts. But at the same time, we're seeing some level 6s come across the board. Ari, Garen, both hitting level 6. Casante's there too. Silas as well. So we're starting to see some players. They're probably going to look to make some more impactful roams, as Silas is already coming down. This could be the gank as Zac goes in. Tezaboy could be locked up. But no, they're going straight onto Blue Liquor, who is caught out. He's going to get out. He can do a little bit more still. He just gets taken out. First blood heading over to Silas. They pick up another at the same time. Worgen picking up a kill. And Sharky's just not there.
Yeah, and it was Sharky was shoved, so he wasn't able to get to the fight first. And critically, Blue Liquor, no level 6, no flash available to him. It was drawn at the start of that fight. He was just caught out of position, and he just got ran down by everyone on the Jade Dragon side. So their reward, ironically, is going to be a dragon as they pick up the Wind Drake, the Cloud Drake rather. And the first significant fight of the game goes in the favor of the Jade Dragons. And I talked about this lane not being one you necessarily want to win, but if you do win it, that's just pure luxury right there, as your Ezreal can play so safely.
Oh, look, and that's just really rough. You think Knights had the team comp on paper, but Jade Dragons just played that exceptionally well. They knew the ganks, they had the pushes, and they forced them into an uncomfortable position by the looks of it, while they were trying to secure vision. So Knights just really making some mistakes that Jade Dragons are really capitalizing on. So it's nice to see these teams playing at what feels like a higher tier.
Yeah, definitely some critical mistakes made, but I think they are still in this game. It's only a 1k gold lead after that fight, and they can just keep grinding out through this lane phase. It is going to be a bit of a slower one. As I said, these skirmishes are to be expected. We just had our first one, but there's by no means that they're out of this game, and the plan is still...
Kelsey? No, don't worry about it.
He's fine. He's a Garen.
Yeah,
but
he's chilling.
The plan is still largely alive. You can still look towards the bot side if you are Tezaboy, but it looks like you might be looking for this Rift Herald early on, as Zac is up and available and could potentially be looking to interrupt this one. They've even deployed locks towards the top side, so if a fight breaks out, they do have the numbers advantage with just Blue Liquor down towards the bot side.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting one. I think letting Xayah just sort of free farm solo down in this bot lane, being able to play a bit safer. Featherstorm is almost available as she's nearing level 6. She's going to be sort of free to sort of survive if she gets locked down. So giving her some solo XP, reaching level 6 early, it's nice to see. As they are looking... Did they get the Rift Herald? Yeah, they got the Rift Herald. Well done.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, they did it. It was just a nice deploy by Lox getting up towards top. Zac was just doing his red, wasn't able to respond to it. And yeah, as you said, the Xayah down towards the bot side has no threat on her. There's no kill threat there, no CC really to speak of unless you really mess something up. But Reason's looking for a Sejuani. He does have that Glacial Prism for the next fight. And
Elsie wants to go on it too, as it looks like, Imposter taken pretty low. The Garen passive, man, pisses me off some days. I swear. Just keep healing. Okay,
I'll give you a hand with this one, man. If we're looking at top, you don't have to talk. Or you don't have to play by play. You can talk. I'll allow it.
Yeah, all right. I'll just talk nonsense. But Garen doing Garen
things. Yeah.
He did it again. Ha
that lane isn't a lane, but Tezaboy has found himself
as we see a lot coming down. Tezza is caught out. One more hit should do it. Takes us off to Reason. No dragon up yet, but securing a scuttle. Again, what's he doing there?
Yeah, really unfortunate. I think what he was hoping for was that off the push that he was going to get support from Sharky, but Collapse comes in way too quickly from the resetting bot lane of the Jade Dragons and just get caught out and run down, and also burns his flash in the course of that play. Imposter.
Kelsey had to burn the flash there. Very nice. But okay, let's look at some scores because we're seeing Silas is 2-0-1 and he's 10 CS up on this Ari. He's just been around this map and having a blast. Oh wait, no. Does Garen actually go for this? Does he win this?
Oh,
does he actually do it?
Okay, he did it. Now, we didn't need to talk over it because it's a Garen play, but he gets the kill, which is really nice. The Cassante is definitely going to feel a bit silly about that one. You always feel a bit dumb when you die to a Garen ult because it's just big sword that hits you and you think, no way this kills me, and then it kills you. And that's how Garen kills happen. But really nicely done by Kelsey to find the angle and get the kill. But as
Kelsey did, it's also the same thing as Kelsey was just chilling in that bush. He's been in that bush about 3-4 times, waiting for the right approach to go onto Imposter so nicely, but they're dropping Rift Herald bot. What do you think about this call weapon? Do you like it?
Yeah, just funneling gold into Zyra Khan. That's all it is. I think you're just looking for a bit of an old school plank gank, get Shelly to boop a tower, some gold goes to you, and then you walk away.
Happy. Yeah. But no, it looks like Reason's actually coming down. Imposter's also here too. We've got the top laner bailing on top as they're looking for a potential 5-man on this next drag.
Yeah, no tele. Well, he has teleport coming up now, so if a wave gets crashed on the tower, he could potentially rejoin, but it looks like Dragon is going to be the only thing that the Jade Dragons care about. Imposter is going to find Tezza Boy.
I'm liking Imposter right now, although he is technically behind, he's playing very aggressively. Even in these little skirmishes there, I like that he's looking for something. He's invading. Looks like he's doing a swap, funnily enough, with Silas.
Yeah, it's just a shift, I think, to get coverage for Dragon. They're going to be there late, so maybe they're just looking to give it up and get Imposter into a safer lane, get Silas through laning phase a little bit easier, maybe. But Teleport's coming in from the Garen, looking to rejoin the fight.
Look, Silas is still topside. I don't think they're really going to be reacting. I think they're just going to give this Dragon over.
I guess that's fine. I mean, good news for Knights. They get one of the coveted stat drakes, and we are going to see what Rift we're in store for. Because these lane assignments have just gotten real wacky over the past couple of minutes, and I think it's just going to be overall benefiting the Jade Dragons as they're just getting more and more plates onto Reasons, who's starting to run away with this game, building up towards what's likely going to be that Everfrost. And we were talking about this sort of stuff before the game, right? The dichotomy between the two builds on Silas. It's Roa versus Everfrost, and in this game, I actually really like it just purely because of the mobility of the enemy team. That extra second of lockdown going to be so important for finding those kills during the crowd control.
Look, yeah, because you've already got the good lockdown on the center too, so you look at the CC combo that you can really pull out into that, because even if Zach's not there, if you can land a little bit, it gives your team a little bit of a chance to come back into it. So I'm really liking this, the Everfrost, as we see a bit of a kerfuffle happening in the mid. Blue Liquid trying to do a good job, but just trying to push this wave, get it out of the way, don't let them be there. I don't think too much will come of this besides a shove.
Yeah, and I think this is just the dividends of the early plays going in the favor of the Jade Dragons, is that you now have this double range bot lane, rather the opposite of melee, if you will, who can now actually dictate the pace of a lot of the game. You can see they just park them in the mid lane, which has forced assignments as the solo laners to the sides, and they're just looking to pummel this mid lane tower until they eventually get it down, and that's going to open up so much space for them to operate with this stack and open up angles for the ganks and open up potential flank angles for the Silas and the Cassante, which, again, we talked about in draft. It's so important for this team to function in fights around objectives.
Look, I kind of want to see this. Not that Silas hasn't done a lot so far, but I feel like he should be playing a little bit more proactive. We should be looking a bit more out of Blazon in this Zac. Like, he should be trying to tower dive some stuff. Like, Xayah has hit that crucial mass where if you try to tower dive it, it's harder. But there's other people on this team that you could potentially jump on. And we don't have to shoutcast this. Don't worry about it, chat. It's just Garen. Don't worry about it. But here's actually a fly coming up on the top side as there's the big barrage coming down. Laser comes out too. Terrific Blade wants to do more, but they get the lockdown. Feather Blade used aggressively as they take it out, and they burn the TP from Imposter.
Yeah, once again, drawing the TP out from Imposter for no real gain. Charm goes wide. I think this fight is over. Yeah. And Imposter loses that critical summoner and is once again going to be giving up a lot of farm and a lot of gold to the Garen, who is, I think, going to knock down that tower, and there it goes. Oh. So Knights, they now need to make something happen here. Jade Dragons now need to make something happen now. They have their eyes set on this Herald.
Look, and it's worth potentially contesting here. Like, they're all pretty healthy. You got a Senna doing a good job, but it looks like Knights just don't even want to bother. They're just going to look directly at the mid. They can say, have the Rift Herald. We're going to take your mid tower instead.
Ooh, Glacial Prison stolen. It's going to be spicy if it finds a target. But dude, look at this bot lane. Garen is just hitting tier 2s. This Garen is... I didn't think he was going to be running the side lane as strongly as he has, but that one kill has just catapulted him to the point where Cassante just can't really deal with this guy.
Well, the fact you look at his itemization, like you predicted, there's the Stride Breaker, but there's the Executioner's Calling too, so he's really going to stop this Silas, Zac, Senna, basically from doing so much in these team fights and healing up what little bit they have. So if he decides to join a team fight, I think his impact is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's actually going to be the armor pen item, the Mortal Reminder. Glacial Prism does land. I think Sharky's fine.
Well, there's the Everfrost is using the ulti. Oh, nice, yeah, well played. Reasons, doing a good job. Again, that's the pressure I wanted from Silas. I like seeing this. Going for something a little bit more. He's 2-0-1. He's equal CS, make a play happen.
Exactly, and he is the power point for the Jade Dragon side. And he's building this Everfrost, which means that you want to see him be more active early on and finding those angles, blowing key summoners, at least putting on the pressure is exactly what you want to see. But in the meantime,
dude, Garen's just everywhere.
He's got crit too, so he kind of hits like a bit of a truck. This is a very goofy build, but in this case, if all you're going to be doing is stopping people from healing, maybe buying space in fights and split pushing, Garen's definitely the champion to do it, and this is the build to do it with.
Okay, I'm gonna push out an idea to you, Weapon, like real quick. It's a cheeky little idea, right? So we knew that Zyra Khan was going to be a heavy focus in the bot lane, right? So we knew Ezreal Senna had to play safe. Why didn't Zac prioritize heading topside and getting Cassante maybe a little bit of a lead? Because look at this Garen now, he's 1-0-0, but he is 30, 40 CS up on this Cassante purely from just sitting side lanes. He's got 2 full items. He's laughing. So do you think that was probably a bad call that they didn't prioritize right? But here comes a dragon fight.
I think it's the right call. I think you also don't commit to this fight because you don't have to. Garen is just winning you the game in the side lanes. Yeah. Tesla Boy can look for a steal here, but that's all he needs to do. Can he get the smite off?
It looks like he's going to go for it. They do actually knock him over the wall. Cassante played it perfectly. Red team gets the dragon. It is... Ooh, it's a cheeky little Chemtech drag as they're trying to walk up. But look where Garen is, dude. He's in their base. He's in their base. Just cancel the backs and you just win this, boys. Keep it going.
It's just so... like, they didn't have to contest that. The fact that Tesla Boy gets out there alive is honestly a bonus. Cassante just escorts him out of the pit. It says not today. And yeah, you pick up the Chemtech Drake, but... this is a squishy team. You're not going to get any value out of that buff besides the Zac and the Cassante. So overall, I think the Knights are just running this game the way they want to. And this pick that we didn't think was going to make a huge difference, Kelsey's just making this thing work just by sitting in side lanes and being a menace.
Look, I'm not gonna try and say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I like being aggressive like that. Was Garen the Smurf pick here? Because it's kind of feeling like it. Like, I mean, he's running it.
Maybe they have been watching some of that US University League and learning from the absolute best. Because, like I said, I think it's like straight up undefeated for this one particular player. And you can see Sharky is now at the point where he has the Everfrost online, so he's doing a reasonable, respectable amount of damage to Imposter, and he is able to hold his own. And this is all you really need to do is split push win cons are really hard to pull off, even at the highest level, but the Knights are making it work, and they just have to buy time and space for their side lanes to work.
I think that's the big thing, right? Like, who on their team can actually respond to the Garen at this point? He is so far ahead. Do you have to expend more resources, but give up space somewhere else? Because Baron is spawning. It is 20 minutes in this game. 3 dragons in. We've got the Chemtech Soul live, so we've got the empowered little plants. What do you do here for Jade Dragons to really take the game into a win? Because gold is so even right now, but there's a big fight. It's going for a little bit more. They get the knocker. Beautiful play. Worgen's inside. Really, they get the double kill. Absolutely huge. And that could be a free Baron, their weapon.
Yeah, it can be a Baron, it can be a bot lane tower as well. You're pushing and pulling your opponents around the map, and you can basically do whatever you want. Tezzawar just finds the angle with the Glacial Prism, nails Worgen. Seraphic Blade isn't able to offer enough healing or peel, and They catch the duo lane in the mid lane, just kind of unawares. Blasm is in position to look for a steal, but really nice by Lox to just chase it out. And this is looking like it's going to be an easy Baron. This is just the benefits of playing the map and having this strong side lane, is that you can just do whatever you want at this point in the game.
Yeah. Now, Cassante not being here, so they're just trying to turn their sights and looking to go on to this Garen. 3 people strong. He takes him over the wall to avoid the jump from Zach. He's still winning. What is Kelsey? He's just an absolute raid boss right now.
He's got so much tenacity.
No way does he get out. He flashes the mastery like an absolute G, but you also hate to see it because it's a Garen, but...
Crowd control doesn't exist for this man. They hit him with Silas E, Zach E. Like, Cassante has more CC than any champion in the game, barring like maybe Leona, and he just walked through it. Garen Garen's the pick. I can't believe we're saying it, but Garen's the pick.
God damn.
He's just unkillable in side lanes.
I don't want to say that, though. I don't want Garen to be the big there's a big Shirley. He's going for a little bit more, but can they do it? Reason's having to burn that stopwatch. Doesn't have the zombies. She hit Charm, lands beautifully. Everfrost comes in too. He's got the Garen ulti, but I don't think that's the one you want. As they're trying to dive a little bit more, they get the return Q. Nicely played as Sharky picks that one up, as it looks like Imposter has to flash over, but no, Tezza Boy's not done with you yet, as they're looking to chase him down. The poor man, the Cassante, he's just lunch meat right now as he's having to run away. And it looks like there's nothing to contest here, Weapon.
There's nothing to contest. The fight just happened, but the fight was won by the Knights, so they can get push in their lanes, they can re-establish the Garen off in the side lanes, cancel that back from Morgan, and they can just keep playing with these 2 waves of pressure. Your top lane's pushed in, but you don't really care about that. Yeah. All you care about is killing these tier 2s eventually, tier 3s in the case of the Garen, and you're just winning by road at this point. Even have Baron buff to help it out.
Oh, it was nicely played there as well. Even without the fight, the way that they've been playing these lanes is, we know the Garen is pressure, give him what he needs, and then we just respond somewhere else. So they're pinging 30 seconds on the Dragon as they're going to reset and look to grab this one nice and quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And the Chempunk Drake is not going to be super important, but it is what is important to you, at least to deny it from the team that has a Cassante and a Zac. You definitely don't want to give over that buff if the team fights do start to happen, but at this point, I don't think you're really even needing to contest this one. You could potentially let it go. You've still got Soul Point to come. Reason's lurking.
This is honestly the most less kill-hungry game I've ever seen, but as the Everfrost goes down, Zac goes in for a big jump. They're looking for a lot. There's a good knock-up, trying to do everything, but Seraphic Blade picks up the Rakan, taking him off the board. Can they go for a little bit more? Cassante ultis over the top. Reasons getting a little bit of health back, but look at Kelsey. He's just chilling right now. It looks like Seraphic Blade is in charge, about to be taken out. Spin to win. It's Blade season here, Weapon, because we are in for kills as they absolutely clean up.
Really clean fight there by the Knights, and a Charm is going to clean up Imposter as he is going to go down eventually, and there we go. Really nice fight. But MVP of that fight was actually the quick reactions from Lox. He did go down because he's a squishy Rakan, but Alt W forward as soon as he saw the clumped up members of the team, locked them up in place enough for the battle lines to be re-established, and then Blue Liquor ripped through everyone with a Featherstorm into Eve, rooting everyone in place, and they were able to just grind the fight out from there. They're going to be looking to take out this inhibitor and potentially maybe look to march to the end, but people are respawning, so we got some time.
I think we got time. Kelsey's not worried, man. That stun lasted, what, a microsecond?
It just doesn't exist. Is Garen going to show up in Challenger games now? Is this a thing?
I want to say no. But at the same time, probably. It's like Annie. Annie's come back as well. Like, Annie's another tutorial bloody champion. And we're still seeing that. Like, we're seeing that in the LCK right now. So, who knows, man?
I'm glad that Yumi's been nerfed. I'm just going to say. Because could you imagine? Could you imagine if we had the Garen Yumi? Garen Yumi come back. If we were like a patch behind on Yumi and this patch with Garen, that would be an unkillable bot lane.
I'm a fan of that. Stop tickling my taste buds there. I was supposed to say tasting my taste buds. That's a weird thing.
Tasting your taste buds. That's a weird thing to do.
You can if you want.
No. I think your partner might have some strong words.
Oh, no. She's right.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's break down some items here because we're starting to see some core items. We haven't seen anything on the Ezreal yet, but we got an Avoid Blade, we got an Essence. Good Everfrost.
Nice Everfrost.
Oh, Glacial Prison is just not enough.
It's just going to walk out.
Wait.
I think I saw a slight buffer of the... Oh, that's unlucky.
Damn.
But by the way, you've just teleported away from Garen, who is going to take your entire base.
He does whatever he wants, man. You can't touch him. There's 5 mid and Garen's just chilling. Yeah, now they've started to back and they're like, oh, okay, we'll force the fight. As Zac is actually coming down a little bit more, he does actually get the root, trying to take them off. Laser Beam comes in, good stopwatch comes out from Reasons, but no good shutdown onto the Ahri, actually taking off the board. They're actually playing this well, the 5-man strong mid, but Garen's taking towers left, right, and center. He could end this game himself, but Blue Liquor is still alive. That Xayah is very strong. They pick up the tower, but they lose an inhib for their trouble. Top's about to go down too from minions, if we can see up there, but absolutely crazy. Garen's still going, he's not stopping. They're trying to cancel it, but they just can't. They're just getting stopped. Oh my god, Garen, come on, man, just stop it.
He's just in the base. He's just doing whatever he wants, and he's just split pushing to victory, and Reasons is going to go down. I think he can now regroup in mid and perhaps meet Kelsey, because he's walking out of this alive, let's be real.
Does he? Well, of course he does.
It's fine. Crowd control doesn't exist. It's ridiculous.
We got another Baron coming up. Like, they could just rotate to that. They got the bot in here. That's the perfect one for a Baron.
Yeah, you've got Sharky up and available as well, so he can now rejoin the team, while Silas is not going to be available for this fight. So this looks like it's going to be a foregone conclusion, to the point where Zac has just used his E to hit some Krugs, get himself some rocks, and I think this just means that there's not going to be a contest at this point. Maybe they just don't know.
Look, yeah, do they have any information going on? Like, it feels like they're just like, oh, maybe they're not really on it. They're not making any moves there. There's Zac finally getting some vision on it, but it's just not enough.
I saw Senna. Thank you. For some reason I was thinking Seraphine. I saw the Senna E coming in. Thought that would be the funniest skill I've ever seen in my entire life, but it wasn't to be.
Nah, never will be, never was.
No, never would be. I think that thing does like 10 damage. Yeah. But this has just been a really clean game overall from the Knights side, and it's been just off the back of, amazingly, macro. Like, they are not committing to fights where they need to. They're defending their ground where they need to, and they're just running the Jade Dragons around the map for about the last 15 minutes or so. And Jade Dragons haven't really been able to find the angles into the fights that they need to. They're just kind of looking at them, standing there and staring at them West Side Story style, where really you need to be finding flanks, and you just don't have the vision set up to do it. But another skirmish in the jungle.
You can see them trying to do that, but yeah, Imposter looking on Tezzaboy. Tezzaboy is playing a very dangerous game, as he could be over the back, uses the blast cone very well. But no, again, Kelsey's down here too. Kelsey's trying to do his own flank on the flank.
It's just not a thing. Like, look at the vision set up for the Knights. You can't walk through that jungle without being known, and okay.
He just flashed, trying to get him over there, but you're trying to chase down a Garen. The tenacity's there. He's looking to just fight it. No, you don't fight this,
I think
dude.
You lose this.
He's got a range with his, he just absolutely blew him up. There's just nothing you can do.
So stupid.
K'Sante, what? We consider K'Sante top tier, but no, they're looking for another fight. Morgan is actually going to get knocked up on the Rakan too. A little bit more damage. There's Garen in the back. He's going for it again. Spin to win. It's Beyblades. Beyblades. As they do get the Zac passive. They're just going to end this game right now. It's just too easy. It's what you were dreaming of. The Garen plays.
The Garen wins the game almost solo, but the rest of the team contributes to it brilliantly. Really good macro, really good understanding of when to pick your fights, when to defend your territory by the Knights, and they walk away with an easy victory. And Kelsey drops at the end of the game the Demacia baby in the chat, and dude, I got to agree, MVP.
MVP for that game. First game of the day, absolutely massive. That's just crazy that he was able to pull that out of some hat. It wasn't a top hat. It wasn't a magician's hat. I don't know what hat, like a homeless hat? Like, you don't pick Garen in these games, man, and then somehow pull that off.
So I'm not up to speed on all the LCK games, but our good boy producer man Mayhem has actually just informed us that we've seen Garen in the LCK apparently. So it's starting to be a thing. Like, he is very tenacious. And you can see with this build as well, Strybreaker to chase people down. Yeah. He picked up the Mortal Reminder for the heal cut and the crit, which is actually genuinely really good stats for him, just with the way that his E functions. And then he's starting to go into defensive itemization, like the Randuins. And it all just kind of makes sense, even though it looks a bit goofy to someone who's maybe used to like clean competitive challenger games.
Yeah.
But this is a thing, and this is the reality of League of Legends in 2023. So we'll have to see if there's going to be an adaptation, whether the Garen starts to hit the ban bench, because I know I hate leaning against Garen.
So do I. I don't want this to be League of Legends, man. This can't. I can't go through this again.
He's an actual brick. He's a brick of a man.
I can understand banning Annie. Fair enough. Huge good CC, good in support, good in mid, basically good anywhere, minus jungle. But Garen? Let's just listen to the word that I'm saying. Garen.
Garen is just this. He doesn't build tank items either, but he just does this at you, and you can't do anything. You hit him, and then he heals up. You try and stun him, he just walks through it. I think Garen is basically like he is the very definition of idiot savant. Like I don't think Garen even understands that people are trying to stun him, like the character. I think he just like he feels some minor discomfort and he just keeps walking.
Sorry, I can't not laugh. It's too, yes, I agree. But okay, sorry. Okay, so really awesome game coming out of the Knights there. Absolutely pulling a fantastic win. It was looking dicey at the start too, where a lot of the kills were over on Jade Dragon, but Knights just looking real strong in this series so far. Like, again, we put our bets on that it was going to be Knights to take the win. Didn't expect it for the Garen, but Garen, we actually predicted that it was going to be a 4v5 was the win with the Sejuani, Ari, Zaya, Rakan, but it was actually Garen 1v9. Like, he just
ridiculous.
Did so well. But okay, guys, we are going to get ready for our second game. We're going to have a short intermission as we will be back because we want to break down some more of these little conversations. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.